first in HD. Live, local, late breaking. This is WTVA News at 6.
Right now at 6, a Lee County man is behind bars this evening after being charged with molestation. We have the facts on his arrest.
American Eurocopter is fighting to save the Lakota. I'm Susan Parker. I'll have the story.
These stories and much more are straight ahead. Good evening, everyone. I'm Terry Smith.
And I'm Emily Leonard in for Sonia Walls. Thank you so much for joining us for WTVA News at 6.
Now, breaking news from WTVA.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Lee County authorities are at the scene of a possible drowning. Sheriff Jim Johnson says they have responded to Lake Wilhelmina at the end of County Road 1279 east of Plantersville. We are working to get more details, and we will bring you updates as they are made available to us. And also tonight, we are monitoring the threat of severe weather.
That's right. Let's go straight now to WTVA Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhan with more. Matt?
Okay, so we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for northern Tippah County. I'll tell you right now, these are fast-moving thunderstorms, moving more than 35 miles per hour. And the heaviest part of this is actually just to the west and northwest of Walnut. The warning affected another 15 minutes, but likely did not impact many locations now in Tippah County as it's quickly tracked along the county line there. About 6 miles to the west of Walnut there, the heaviest part of this thunderstorm, maybe a wind gust around 55 to 60 miles per hour possible out of that, or any of those thunderstorms stretching back to the south and west, all producing a lot of lightning. That might be our main impact this evening. For most of us, we're done, as that is our heaviest thunderstorm moving away. But we're picking up the pieces in a few locations. We had some power lines reported down. Chris in Oxford sending in this picture via Twitter. Also, quite a few reports of damage from a near Lafayette County baseball field there. We'll check in on that here in a couple of minutes. Your hour-by-hour forecast, though, diminishing the coverage of thunderstorms as we go throughout the evening. Another chance tomorrow, more chances in the extended forecast. Details here in a few minutes.
Matt, thank you very much. It's described by the Department of Defense as a model defense program with one of the most cost-effective aircrafts in recent history.
And all that praise may sound good, but the federal government may take its checkbook elsewhere, leaving the future uncertain for one Columbus helicopter manufacturer. WTVA's Susan Parker has the latest on this developing story.
It's the 10th anniversary for American Eurocopter, an occasion that could be considered bittersweet. The company is trying to hold on to all the jobs they have. It's going to require they continue producing the helicopter they call the Lakota. American Eurocopter rallies their troops for a war of a different sort. Employees wave signs before federal, state, and local leaders, hoping for support, hoping for a future.
My concerns are not having a job, not being able to take care of my kids. We're a great company. I would just hate that it wouldn't be here anymore.
Proposed federal budget cuts handed down in April could mean the chopping block for the Lakota by 2015. If the Department of Defense decides to cut the Lakota, that could result in job losses, something this company doesn't want to see.
We're ready to perform, we're ready to keep up this exemplary effort, having built nearly 300 of the helicopters so far that all meet the best standard the United States Army and National Guard and the United States Navy.
It's a safe helicopter, it's a high-performing helicopter, and we're very proud to build it here in Mississippi.
And leaders on this stage want to keep it that way, but that could prove to be a big challenge. President Obama is calling for budget cuts across the board, and that includes the Department of Defense. The state's congressional delegation has a huge challenge on their hands.
But the Department of Defense also has an obligation to the taxpayers.
Representative Alan Nunley, a member of the powerful House Appropriations Committee, won't predict the company's chances for federal support, but he does say going to a different aircraft is not the answer.
I'm concerned the Army may be utilizing some other helicopters that can do the job, but particularly when it comes to operation and maintenance, they're not as efficient as the Lakota. And we got to make that case.
Governor Phil Bryant says he understands cuts must be made to alleviate some of the strain on the national debt. But at the same time, he feels it is counterproductive to cancel a successful, cost-efficient program. In Columbus, I'm Susan Parker for WTVA News.
The company is also taking an active role in appealing to the federal government. They have already sent 3,500 letters asking for support of members of the U.S. Congress, Governor Phil Bryant, and congressional committee members.
A man charged with molesting a teenage boy is behind bars in Lee County tonight. Christopher Reynolds of Mantachie made his initial appearance Thursday in Lee County Justice Court. The sheriff says his department found out about this last week. Turns out the boy actually met the man through church.
That turned into the suspect befriending the victim's mother, was able to gain access to their home through that friendship and through that acquaintance. Even though the suspect lives in Mantachie, the victim lived here in Lee County.
The sheriff adds Reynolds served time in prison after being convicted in 2000 on similar charges.
A Caledonia man has been charged with a break-in at a Columbus home. Investigators say 29-year-old Christopher George Peacock was arrested Wednesday night at a home on King Street. Authorities say he broke into the home and was still there when officers arrived. Peacock is charged with burglary of a dwelling.
Clay County authorities need your help finding a man wanted for malicious mischief. The Clay County Sheriff's Department says 31-year-old Montrell Collins, also known as Peanut of Cedar Bluff, is wanted for felony malicious mischief and 2 counts of trespassing. Anyone with any information should contact the Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers or the Clay County Sheriff's Department.
Investigators say they have not been able to determine the cause of a fire at a Lee County business last September. Lee County Sheriff Jim Johnson says those are the findings into the fire at Wicks and Moore on Highway 371 in Mooreville. Firefighters say the back part of the building was already on the ground when they arrived. Investigators spent the past few months interviewing people and analyzing the building, but were never able to pinpoint a cause for the fire. Wicks and Moore employed 12 people at the facility and specialized in candles and gifts. Well, we have continuing coverage now of a story that we've been following today. More than 1,000 federal civil service workers with the Mississippi National Guard are set to take some time off without pay due to national budget cuts from the Department of Defense.
As WTVA's Jackson reporter Mike McDaniel explains, even though the Guard knew this was coming months ago, it's still concerning.
Many full-time employees with Mississippi's National Guard are now on notice after being told 11 days of furloughs will be part of the job requirement for the next few months.
In the end, it just got down to a dollars and cents decision that had to be made.
Major General Augustus Collins made the announcement Thursday morning and says all of the 1,400 employees impacted are in civilian roles.
If there is a good thing, the only good thing I'd say about this is that we've known about it now for several months. And we've been telling everybody that was a good possibility that it might happen.
This all comes as mandated spending cuts in the federal government take hold. Collins says the furloughs will be taken on Mondays beginning July 8th, lasting until the end of September. That means about a 20% reduction in pay for those workers.
Some of them are concerned, how they're going to be able to make the ends meet for the next 3 months. Others, it was like, well, I knew it was coming.
The highest concentration of furloughs will be handed out in Jackson, Camp Shelby in Hattiesburg, Meridian, Gulfport, and Camp McCain in Grenada. Despite stretching across the state, Collins says he doesn't expect any operations to be canceled or any impact on the Guard's ability to respond to disasters.
We'll be able to handle those just as we've been able to in the past, so they will have absolutely no effect.
Even so, Governor Phil Bryant is blasting the federal government and the White House for allowing such cuts to happen.
We understand their challenges, but when you furlough National Guardsmen, particularly as we depend on them here in the state of Mississippi, when we have a natural disaster that could come at any time, you put real lives at risk.
Initially, furloughs were at 22 days, but were reduced to 11, which Collins hopes is a sign of further reduction.
We're also hopeful and prayerful that the federal government will find a way to eliminate it prematurely.
In Jackson, Mike McDaniel, WTVA News.
Collins says the Guard will be working with those employees during the next 30 days to see if there are any types of programs or services to help ease the financial pain of furloughs before they happen.
New information tonight. The municipal elections in Smithville will take place next week at Town Hall. Officials say there was some confusion over the voting precinct location following the April 2011 tornado. Leaders say that voters can cast their ballots between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. at Smithville Town Hall, and that's located at Franklin Street. Well, next on WTVA News at 6, it's a big weekend coming up for Starkville.
Mississippi State is hosting an NCAA baseball regional. We'll take a look at how this could be a home run for the city's economy.
And actually some damage to one of the fields at Lafayette County, the schools there. This is actually a light pole knockdown. We'll show you a couple of perspectives from this, sent in by Corey with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers and Spotters this afternoon. We have had those pop-up thunderstorms be strong and severe. That potential with warm temperatures tomorrow is going to exist as well. Well, complete details here in just a couple of minutes. Jim.
Matt, we might as well call this All-American Day. We've got athletes from Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Delta State being honored, and not just in baseball. Definitely talking baseball, though. Regionals begin tomorrow in Raleigh for the Rebels and in Starkville for the Bulldogs. That and some high school coaching news later in sports. WTVA News at 6 continues after this.
New tonight at 6, a big weekend is in store for the city of Starkville.
You know, it's been 10 years since they hosted the last NCAA baseball regional. WTVA's Javante Ingram has more.
This weekend, the city of Starkville will host the NCAA Baseball Regional for the 12th time, which will hopefully mean a home run for the city economically.
This weekend, everything will be completely full. Our hotels will be full. The restaurants will be full. Hopefully, there'll be tons of people walking up and down Main Street shopping. And so that just means sales tax that's coming into our community from people that don't necessarily live here.
The regional game isn't only exciting for Bulldog fans who haven't seen one in Starkville since 2003, but also for local business owners.
With the university out of session now, things are a little slower. So this will be a very nice boost for the weekend to help a normally fairly slow month for the town.
Although the downtown area is a little quiet right now this weekend, the city's expecting thousands of fans to flood the streets, and they're also encouraging retailers and restaurants to stay open a little bit later to accommodate those crowds.
Now, we have seen such a huge correlation with the athletics here and obviously a huge increase in business. So big thing for us too is it's always just fun to have new people in our doors from all over the place. It's just an exciting thing.
After opening the doors to her business in March, Havala Kuvian is excited to see a big weekend during the summer months.
It's expected for things to kind of diminish, you know, with the college students leaving, and so any big weekend we can have here, we're obviously smiling and happy about it.
In Starkville, Javante Ingram, WTVA News.
And the regional will begin tomorrow with opening round games at 2 and 7 p.m.
Well, coming up, speaking of sports, several area athletes are to get All-American honors in their sport.
Sports Director Jim Holder has more on who is being recognized. And Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpond will have your complete Weather Authority forecast when WTVA News at 6 returns.